Hello and welcome to the Front Row. I'm your host, Dave Bayne. Tonight I'm going to offer a special preview to our interview with the Dio Disciples. We caught up with the two main disciples, Scott Warren and Tim Ripper Owens, when they played at Jaxx on September 24th. Tim handles lead vocals, Scott handles keyboards. In this interview, you'll see such highlights as why do the Dio Disciples have two lead singers? What are their favorite Dio songs to play? Why have Judas Priest never played The Last Rose of Summer live? Furthermore, you'll get to see a rare Claude Schnell reference for those hardcore Dio fans out there. Additionally, you'll get to see me and Ripper poke a little fun at our good friend Eddie Trunk, who has also appeared on this show. Eddie, if you're watching this, it was all in good fun, and I took your recommendation and went out and bought a UFO CD, and I love it. But we're not here to talk about Eddie Trunk or UFO, we're here to talk about the Dio Disciples. I think the funnest part for me and Phil was to hang out with Ripper on the tour bus before we got started and watch college football and discuss his restaurant, Ripper Owens Tap House, which is in Akron, Ohio. Check it out. Apparently they have this Wings of the World, which is out of sight. The concert was great. We got into the sound check. We got to see a little Kill the King, which is a forgotten Rainbow classic, and it ended up being a highlight for me for the show. In closing, I think there's some people I need to thank that helped make this happen. We want to first start with Wendy Dio, who helped set this up. We want to thank Chip Ruggiero. Sorry, Chip, if I mispronounced your name. Jennifer Farhood, and a very special thanks to Steve Mignardi. Steve's the one that got us into the sound check, rounded everybody up, and it was great. Also, I want to thank the rest of the Dio Disciples. Toby Jepson, Craig Goldie, Simon Wright, and Rudy Sarzo. What a great bunch of guys. Super nice guys, all gentlemen, just like Ronnie James Dio, and I'm sure he's proud looking down on them. Also, I want to thank Bob Gaynor, who treated Phil and I to a nice pasta and salad meal after we were done with our interview, and you know, me and Phil can really build up an appetite. So without further ado, I want to introduce this interview with Tim Ripper Owens and Scott Warren. Enjoy. Hi, this is Dave Bayne, again with another special edition of the Front Row. Once again at Jaxx Nightclub in Springfield, but this time I'm on the tour bus with Tim Ripper Owens and Scott Warren from the Dio Disciples. And we just got treated to a little sound check of what we're going to see earlier tonight. They were breaking into a little Kill the King. Sounded great. But you're not here to hear me ramble on. I'm going to turn it over to Ripper. Ripper, how you doing today?
I'm good, man. Nice to be here. Good to see you again. It's been just like yesterday we saw each other with my first Judas Priest show at the Boathouse, you were saying. So wasn't that just like a year ago?
Yeah, and Tim or Ripper, can I call you Tim?
You can call me Tim.
Which do you prefer, Tim or Ripper?
You can call me Bob, Bill, Ray.
I'll call you Ripper. Ripper, I have to ask you this. Have I gained weight?
No, you look the same to me. Is that a good answer?
I guess. Okay. All right, we're also here with...
You look as handsome as ever.
Thank you, even though Phil seems to think Scott has better hair than me. We're also here with Scott Warren from the Dio Disciples, and Scott plays keyboard. Say hello to everybody, Scott.
Hello, everybody. How are you?
You don't really think you have better hair than me, do you?
You know, I haven't given it much thought.
Well, but I see it at all stages, and he's having a very nice hair day today.
As the audience knows, I take my hair very seriously. But fat jokes and hair aside, Tim, why don't you tell us a little bit why you're here tonight at Jaxx?
Well, you know, after Ronnie passed, you know, first of all, I'd like to start off by saying I'd rather be opening for him somewhere instead of doing this. But after Ronnie passed, you know, we just wanted to celebrate it. You know, Wendy and talked to his bandmates, Ronnie's bandmates, and said, you know, we need to do something, get out there with the guys that he would want and celebrate Ronnie. You know, his music's out there. You're going to hear it and listen to it and sing along, but, you know, going out and doing it live, having the people experience it and sing along and see, you know, Scott and Craig and the guys up on stage, you know, who was with Ronnie for years and years and years. It's a celebration. You know? And you know what? We feel it every night. Last night we felt it. In Europe, we felt it. Every night we're on stage, we feel it. That's what we want to do.
And this is your third night in the States with this tour.
Third night in the States. Started in the wonderful Poughkeepsie, which was awesome. It was a great show. In New Jersey last night, and it's great.
And tell us a little bit about the band. Who's in the band? We know you and Scott, and who else is in the band?
Well, Simon Wright, Craig Goldie, great on this leg. The first leg we didn't have, but Rudy Sarzo. So it's nice to have, this is really feels special. And we brought Toby Jepson in to sing with me, so we can both, we just wanted to give it not a replacing feel. We wanted to give it. Having two singers, I think, made it look more like we're celebrating. It's more like a big celebration up there. And Toby is a phenomenal singer and a great guy, and he has the spirit of what we're doing. So it makes it special.
Yeah, and I had asked you that off camera why you guys had two singers, and when you explained it to me that way, it makes a lot more sense to me.
Well, you said it the funny way. He said he thought that I couldn't sing all that, and you have to bring two singers in. And I said, to be honest, really. It is Ronnie Dio you're talking about, so the more singers that try and sing Ronnie, the better. I think.
Well, Ripper, I'm gonna get to you in a minute here, Scott. But Ripper, I'm gonna embarrass you here for a minute. As you know, I did see you the first night you ever played with Priest, and I've told a few of my close friends this, and I know this is sacrilege, but I actually prefer listening to you sing Priest over Halford.
Wow, well, thank you.
I actually prefer the live albums with you.
I hope you make it to your car without being.
and that's the God's honest truth. I've been a
Thank
fan.
you.
I was very skeptical when I first went to go see you, but as I told you earlier, I've been a fan of yours.
Check. Is this thing on? Check.
I've been a fan of yours ever since that night, and I've gotten everything that you've been a
Thank
part
you.
of since then.
Thank you.
But let me turn it over to Scott now. Scott, now you were in Ronnie's band since 1994, isn't that correct?
93, yeah. Yes, 93.
Okay. And which album did you first do with Ronnie?
Well, unofficially, it was Strange Highways. And then, officially, then the following album, which was Angry Machines. And from that point on, everything that Ronnie did.
And the whole band, other than Ripper and Toby, is Ronnie's band, right?
Yeah. Well, let me put it this way. Of course, there's been, as everyone knows, there's been the guys that were there in the very beginning, and then there's some that came and went, and this and that. This is the band that I'm proud to say that Ronnie handpicked. Okay, that when he passed, the legacy of the band that he left off going, you guys are it, including Rudy Sarzo, Simon, myself, and Craig Goldie.
And all you guys have all been in like various different bands. I'm familiar with all your guys' work. I mean, it's a great band. Why don't you tell us about the other guys in the band?
The other guys in the band. Sorry.
The other guys in the band that were with you that are with you now.
Well, Simon.
Yes.
Simon's been a mainstay of the band in that. He and I share something, and that is that we never left and came back. Well, he did leave, but that was because Ronnie went to do Dehumanizer. But otherwise, we've been fairly consistent and loyal, and just stuck. And then Craig, though, was there very early on in the beginning, and I think Craig was of the few guitar players that Ronnie's had. I think he was the closest to Ronnie musically. I think understood more closely what Ronnie was about, and especially able to do all these different genres of music that Ronnie did, Rainbow and Black Sabbath and Dio, and have a grasp of all of it as a whole.
Will you guys be celebrating any Elf tonight?
No, we thought about it, but no.
Or any Ronnie and the Prophets?
I'd love to, but
I would love to do that. I would love to do it all, right?
I'd love to do that, Ronnie and the Red Caps.
Yeah. Well, I saw you guys break into a little Tom Jones in there as well. Now,
Of course you would pick that up.
Sorry, Metal.
That was me busting a little bit of.
Well, everybody knows I like Lady Gaga too, so I'm not all through and through metal, but metal is my home. Please don't leave, Ripper.
I know. I was just about.
What's wrong with Tom Jones, man?
The Wales, man. He's from Wales. Come on.
I love Tom.
My
Jones.
grandma loved him.
Scott, since you were with Ronnie for so long, do you have any favorite story you want to tell about Ronnie? I from what I've read and everything I've never met Ronnie, but he was, from what I hear, he was the consummate gentleman, just a super nice guy.
Yeah, I mean, there's loads of stories I could tell, but I mean, I can't. So it's hard to pick the best one. I can just say in general that he was such a class act. If we'd be leaving, let's say, to go to a gig, and we're leaving our hotel, and we're crowded in with, say, a wedding or something, people in our way, and we have to get out and get to the gig. he would go and open the door for people he didn't know and didn't know who he was, instead of going, well, I'm the big, rock star, get out of my way, but we're late for a gig. And I thought, well, that's really impressive, and then if they if they didn't exchange the courtesy, they knew it.
Yeah, people aren't very courteous these days. I find, especially with elevators. So my days of elevator courtesy are over, just as an aside. But let me ask you, Ripper, was it hard to come up with what songs you guys wanted to do?
Well, there's the handful that you're going to put in there, but it is hard because everybody sometimes wants to do a little different song. It was funny when I was in Judas Priest, we used to always Glenn would always say, yeah, we get a hat and we put all the songs in there and we just reach in and grab one and we say this is the one we're doing. And it's almost what you feel like you want to do because, luckily for us, we want to take it one step at a time and keep touring. So each time we do legs of a tour or we come back, we want to change the set list around. So we're not just going to go out and do the same set list. So this set list has changed from the European set list, and the next South America or the next America run will change from this one. But it never ends. I mean,
there's certain songs that obviously we're obligated to do if we're going to call it the Dio Disciples, which it is, and then and we want to work in a lot of stuff that never got played if we can. That hasn't seen the live stage, but there's just only so much time right now. So we kind of have to work them in tenderly, in the whole picture of the set.
Does that mean you're going to work in the Claude Schnell keyboard solo?
Yeah.
That's a joke, man.
I know. I'm not. I don't think. I'm proud to play what the parts Claude did, his solos and stuff. I might do my own solo.
I was gonna say we're going to do the Scott Warren solo.
I'm just messing with you, Scott.
I'm actually going to play. Scott's going to walk off, and I'm going to play the Scott Warren solo just to kind of mix it up as a tribute to Scott.
Ronnie played keyboards too, though, didn't he?
Well, not okay. No, he knew what he wanted to hear from keyboards. So he knew how to get. Okay, he'd go, oh, there's a cool sound, and he kind of knew what he wanted to hear, and he was he had a great ear, so he knew how to get what he wanted to hear out of a keyboard, sort of, so to speak. If I could put it that way. I mean, he didn't sit there and go, okay, A sharp, E flat. Yeah.
I always thought Ronnie did play keyboards because I think on the Holy Diver album, he's actually credited with keyboards, isn't he?
Yeah, of course, because he came up with a lot of the parts. I mean, he would, in my case, well, he would sing parts to me. He'd go, do something like, and he'd have the notes right in his head. They would be right there. And I go, yeah, okay, cool. And yes, he did play, but it's just a matter of saying, I consider myself a keyboard player. I consider him a musician, which means that he could play bass, he could sing, he could play trumpet, and and when it came to keyboards, he was just a musician that has the musical inclination to whatever it was he was doing.
That's a good point, Scott. I forgot he did play trumpet. Yeah. You were going to say, Ripper?
Well, I was going to say I know what he's talking about because I can play some stuff on the keyboard like the basic chord and kind of do something, come up with ideas, but I'm not a keyboard player. Same with the guitar player. I wrote the songs on my solo record.
Which is
on the
excellent,
guitar,
which is
and I wrote it for the
by
demos,
the way.
but I still don't consider myself a guitar player because I leave that. I'll write it, put something down, but then I give my basic idea to the real people and say, here, now you play the real thing, because it's a big difference between playing a little bit on the keyboard and being a keyboard player.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes if a part wasn't necessarily technically difficult to play, then he could eke it out. But usually when he would play it back to me, I go, that's it, man. Let me play that.
I'm going to move on here in a minute, but Ripper, you touched on something. I have to ask you this. You said when you were in Priest, you guys would put songs in a hat and pick them out. How come Last Rose of Summer never came out?
Well, there's a lot of songs to pick here. We would have. I think we actually talked about that for the Live in London. Talked about a couple of things. Yeah, we talked all different songs. I loved Last Rose of Summer. That's a great one. So
I thought I was being a smart ass with that.
Throughout the soft and timeless days of August.
It's amazing when you listen to that
Last Rose of Summer. It's a great song.
Yeah, when you listen to that old Priest stuff, there's a lot of stuff on there that you wouldn't think that was theirs. But let me ask you this, Ripper. What's your favorite, and this might be kind of putting you on the spot, what's your favorite Dio song to play?
And I'm going to
ask you next,
because
Scott.
I love it. I love doing Heaven and Hell,
Oh, that's my favorite.
because it's fun to do and watch the people's reaction.
Great song.
But to me, it's a song that, if you look at Ronnie's whole catalog, you can put this one song that branches off and shows everything. Like, you can go in every angle from Heaven to Hell, and it shows everything. It's just got every little hard song. I mean, of course, all Ronnie stuff's like that, but it's just an amazing song, and it's an amazing song to sing, and you feel the crowd on stage. Like, oh man!
And lyrically, it's incredible.
Oh, it's
too.
great. But there's so many. Tomorrow I might name another one.
And Scott, I'm going to ask you, what's your favorite to play, just from a song basis and as a keyboard player?
Well, okay, that's a good way to phrase it. Yeah, well, if I'm going to go from song basis and a keyboard player, I like All the Fools Sailed Away.
Great song.
It's a great song, and great keyboard solo in that. And anything from Magica that I get to play, I mean, that's just, brilliant keyboard work on that. And I'm saying that in light of what you said about Ronnie, because, yeah, he did come up with a lot of the ideas for that, for the keyboard work on that. So, but Magic is an entity of itself. There's no time to play the entire thing like we used to do,
I actually was at that show where you played the whole album in its entirety.
Yeah, it was a challenge, but it felt so good to do it,
Yeah, I actually saw Ronnie on the Sacred Heart tour and on the Magica tour. So I got to see him in the small club and in the big stadium, so that was pretty cool. Ripper, how long is this tour going to go? What's in store in the future?
Well, we're going to go with this one. I think the 9th of October 9th is our last show on this run, and then we're going to look at doing maybe South America. We're just trying to go one step at a time. We're not trying to keep book way in advance. So we're going to try to get South America. And we want to do more American shows. We really want to try to get more American shows in there. So we got the West Coast and Florida and Canada, and we got a lot of stuff still to do. So.
Yeah, when I was telling you off camera, when I first heard of this project, I was like, this was just genius. And I think it was Wendy Dio that came up with the idea, right?
I think it kind of branched from Wendy and the guys. I think they all, at the same time, I think they kind of discussed it. And then I said, like I said off, when they asked me, I emptied out anything I was going to be doing there for months just to be able to do it. Whatever it took, I wanted to do it, So it's, it was their idea and came to light.
It was there was a period of course, I said to myself, it's time to move on and do something else because he's gone and it could never be the same. And but of course I entertained the thought, how could Dio, band named after the greatest singer in heavy metal, rock and roll, or what have you, carry on? And then I thought, well, I better just do what I'm going to do. And it took quite a while. Wendy was grieving. We were all grieving. And when she started to come to the point where she felt like she was ready to do it, that's when we felt like we were ready. So it was really came down to her sort of at the end. But yeah, we were talking about it with this work. But what occurred to me was, instead of, if I would have left and we would have left and gone and done other things, it sort of would have been more disrespectful to Dio than to carry on the legacy and charge on, which is what he would have had us do. But just to abandon it, there would be nobody left to do it.
Well, I'm really excited about this. I've been watching the YouTube clips of you guys in Europe, and I'm really excited to see this show tonight. And I was telling Ripper off camera, I have another reason that this is a very special show for me tonight. Ronnie actually passed away on my 40th birthday, and Phil was at my house, and we did a little tribute to him out on my back porch and everything. And then I was telling Ripper, a year later to almost the day, I was diagnosed with cancer. So it was just really an eerie thing for me. And then this is really my first show back after having been diagnosed and going through my surgery. And I told Phil, we have got to get the Dio Disciples because this is just too weird. I feel like I have this weird connection with Ronnie now because it's like, he and I was actually saved by early detection. And I know what they talk about with Ronnie's. If he had gone in earlier, things may have been different. So I don't know, maybe I just feel this kind of weird connection with it. So this is actually a very special show for me tonight as well, guys.
Welcome back. And I think we all feel that there's some sort of a special connection. I mean, even the fans, there's a spirit about this that is different than anything I've ever seen, because people that are embracing it and coming to our shows and the way we feel about it, it's more than just a rock show. There's a highly emotionally charged reunion, if you could say that, between Ronnie's music and the fans, and people feel like they're driven. We do.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. I think you guys are doing a great tribute and a testament to his legacy. Ripper, what do you have coming after this? What's going on after the Dio Disciples?
I got to go back to my job at Walmart, which I just going on my 5-year anniversary. No, on my
No, that's what you were doing before Priest, right?
no, I was doing that during. I was doing that during Priest. I'm going to go out with Yngwie for a quick America run. I start in New York on the 13th, and then I come home from that and got a few other things through December and try to recharge the batteries. And like I said, check on next year, check on what's going on. The only thing I have planned right now is I try to plan something way in advance, and I have a solo tour in Australia. I got like 12 shows in Australia in May. Other than that, I'm blanking the whole schedule to make Dio Disciples.
But you have a Charred Walls album coming out.
I do have a Charred Walls album. I'm not doing any support. October 11th, we have a Charred Walls of the Damned second album's coming out, which the first one was very successful on Metal Blade Records and
right.
did very well. So that's coming out.
You have like the ultimate heavy metal resume, dude.
It's yeah. People always say I do too much. I need to stick with one thing, and I look at it as the opposite. I'm fortunate to be able to work with all these musicians and do this for a living. I love to sing, and I'm able to do it. I don't know any singers in my position who, like, if they would have left Judas Priest, would have carried on doing what I've done, because I'm able to make friends in the industry and do it. I love to sing, so
Yeah.
bring it on, and I'll sing. And
And one thing I want to say about you, Ripper, I mean, like I said, what we were joking about, I met you years ago, but when we were talking about Ronnie always being the consummate gentleman, and you've been in a lot of different bands and with a lot of different personalities, you've always carried yourself with a class and a dignity from every project you went.
Right, turn the camera off.
No, seriously, you really have. I've never heard you talk shit. I've never heard you anybody badmouth you. It just seems like you've always carried yourself in that same kind of manner. And
it's how you're brought up. What, my parents, I have great parents and a family guy, and my idols were Ronnie Dio and Judas Priest guys, and they were the same way. They carried themselves like that. So when you surround yourself with that, that's who I am.
I just think that's really
cool. Thank
cool.
you very much.
And Scott, let me ask you, what do you have planned after this?
Wash the dishes.
Are you going back to Walmart?
Yeah. No, I don't really have anything planned. I'm just doing a little, whatever I can do to fill in around this, because this is a priority for me right now, and a lot of people might not realize this, but when you're as a music, in the rock world and whatnot, if you get committed to something else, your commitments can often conflict, and I'm trying to keep things to where I don't have those conflicts, that I can commit to this. It's like if you have a certain amount of months that you can block out and it all works out neat, great. But I've been just kind of focusing on this myself.
Yeah, and you've got quite a resume yourself. I mean, you've played with a lot of different bands, from Typo Negative to Berlin to Warrant. I mean, you're all over the map, right?
Right. Well, I being a keyboard player allows me to be kind of versatile, and I played country music and all that, but I'm not a jack of all trades. I focus on what rock is. This is the ultimate for me. This is what I do. But I do like to branch out into other venues of music and things like that if I can. So yeah, I have a fairly colored discography.
Very cool. Well, our producer tells me we're running down on time. In closing, a couple things, just one quick question I got to get in with you, Ripper. I know you're getting ready to air the interview with Eddie Trunk, right? That's next week,
October
right?
1st, yeah.
On that metal show.
That metal show.
And I'm going to say this, and I know Eddie's probably going to get upset with me, and I say this with all the best intentions, because we interviewed Eddie for this show. But Ripper, seriously, enough with the UFO, right?
Yeah, hey, listen, he is on the UFO, right? I mean, he loves it.
I mean,
that's all right.
I get it. UFO.
Let him push that. Let him push his UFO. It's his little thing. He likes. It's like his blanket.
Well, guys, this has been great. In closing, is there anything you guys want to close with, or anything
Well,
you
I
want to talk
say
about?
just listen, come out and celebrate. Come out and celebrate Ronnie
Yeah.
James Dio. You'll feel it. It's emotional. It's a great show, and come out with us and celebrate it.
That's right. Well, we're really doing this for the fans, and of course we love doing it, but without the people, the fans, there would be no show. But we're really doing it for you guys. So come out and see us.
Yeah, and like I said, I've already checked out the sound check. It was killer. Kill the King. Great rainbow tune. I've seen the clips on YouTube that are great. Are you doing Heaven and Hell tonight, by the way?
Yes.
Okay, great. I love spoilers. Phil doesn't like spoilers. But I'm so thankful that you guys took the time to sit down with us. Like I said, this is, for personal reasons, a very special thing for me. Plus, Tim, I've been a fan of yours ever since that night at the Boathouse. I mean, you just blew me away.
Thank you.
And I really do mean that when I say that I prefer listening to you over Halford.
Nice.
And I'm probably going to get in trouble for that, but I truly do mean that. I wouldn't say that unless I did. Once again, this is Dave Bayne for the Front Row. I'm on the tour bus with the Dio Disciples, the two main disciples, Scott and Ripper. And
Don't tell the other guys that.
Don't tell the other. Of course, they were here. They'd be the main disciples. But it's going to be a great show. And if you get a chance, go check these guys out on the road, or check Ripper on one of his many metal side projects. And thanks for watching.
See ya.
Right to die young.